It is widely believed that Los Angeles relies on Disneyland for its tourists. This may be true to a certain degree, but in actual fact, a large number of visitors are attracted by the nostalgia of Hollywood's heyday. Although the movie industry has suffered a great decline, Los Angeles still reigns supreme as the #1 entertainment production center. It still boasts many recording companies and has many television and film studios. The city still attracts the young hopefuls waiting to be discovered, the has-beens looking for another chance, the never-will-be's who refuse to admit defeat, and the dreamers who hope that one day they will create the dreams that pour from the huge dream factory that is Los Angeles. Unlike other important cities, Los Angeles has no river and has to rely on its concrete rivers to connect its industries. There are 3 such main arteries, all called boulevards. There's Wilshire, Santa Monica, and this one, the best known, Sunset. Every allied business of the film, television and recording industry is situated on or very close to Sunset Boulevard. The road winds its way for 26 miles, from the Pacific coast to just east of Hollywood. This section, running through the downtown area, is known locally as the Strip, and is approximately 1 mile of garish signs, uncontrolled development, noisy traffic, and 1 or 2 clip joints. A short drive from the Strip and far above the city at the top of Beverly Hills is a huge underground reservoir. Built on top of it is the home of the American Film Institute. Here, every aspect of filmmaking is expertly taught by the industry's most respected professionals. One of the leading lights of the Institute is Charlton Heston, and a frequent visitor is the current mayor of Beverly Hills, actor Dennis Weaver. Whilst the students learn their craft, the public may roam the grounds at will and enjoy one of the few really secluded spots of the city. The building itself is one of the oldest in the area, being early Victorian, as the ornamental chimney pots will testify. Spread out below the Institute are the expensive homes of the famous, and out-of-town visitors looking for nostalgia can join a guided tour of the homes of the stars. Although most of the famous names of yesterday no longer live in the houses, the crowds still come to see. Unfortunately, the police do not permit the tour vehicles to stop outside the homes, so drivers proceed as slowly as possible without actually stopping. This is the home belonging to Cary Grant. Doris Day lives here, and this one belongs to Lana Turner. The late Marilyn Monroe lived in this property. Comedian Jack Benny once owned this house, and Lucille Ball still lives in this one. This house is owned and lived in by James Stewart and his family. Diana Shaw has a home in this property, and this house is used by Liz Taylor when she's in Los Angeles. And this impressive building is the home of Debbie Reynolds. This £3.5 million house is owned by a Middle East sheikh who enraged the Beverly Hill residents by decorating it in psychedelic colours and adding his own adornments to the statues. The house is now burnt down, and the residents apparently stood and applauded while it blazed. Further along the boulevard, between downtown Los Angeles and the coast, the nostalgia trail brings the visitor to the home of the late Will Rogers. This 186-acre ranch is now a state park, and a small fee enables the public to view the house and grounds. At no extra charge, films are screened depicting the life of the cowboy star. Every visitor is loaned a personal radio receiver like this. By placing it to the ear, whenever this sign is displayed, a complete description of what is being viewed can be heard. Will Rogers, the cowboy philosopher, started his career in rodeos as a rope artist and went on to star for many years in the Ziegfeld Follies. Although only moderately successful in silent movies, the talkies brought him national fame by revealing his drawling wit and homespun philosophy. His personal belongings are still lying where he left them on the night of his death. He died in 1935, victim of an air crash, at the height of his fame as a newspaper columnist, radio commentator, and a film star. As in most big cities, the citizens of Los Angeles like to get away from it all and spend some leisure time by the sea. This is Santa Monica, which is at the coastal end of Sunset Boulevard, and is no doubt the most popular of the 7 major beach locations catering for residents and visitors alike. You won't find any film stars relaxing here. They prefer Malibu, which is further up the coast. There is a connection with the movies, however, and this amusement centre is often featured in television series and films, the last one being an episode of SWAT. The pier at Santa Monica allows the motorist to drive right onto and park along the whole length of the walkway. This pier, in common with most others, serves the public with bars, restaurants, amusement facilities, as well as the mandatory fishing. Although quiet during weekdays, Santa Monica is very busy at weekends throughout the year. Travelling inland again, one finds that 20th Century Fox is one studio that allows no visits by the public. But from the roadway, the set used in the film Hello Dolly can still be seen. The overhead railway station is still here, as is the street scene. It doesn't take close examination to see that the set is just a facade fixed onto the front of the still used administration offices. In complete contrast, this film studio actually welcomes the public with open arms and operates well-organised tours for visitors. The day starts with a visit to the $6 Million Man studio. After a member of the audience successfully lifts a truck, a young lad with the aid of front projection and television wizardry is shown emulating the feat of the star character. After a greeting from one of the studio characters, the visitors board the trains known as the glamour trams to make a tour of the backlot. Frankenstein's monster gives them a send-off and the journey begins. Many gimmicks are specially presented for the tourist, and unkind cynics often remark that the studio earns more from its tours than it does from its films. This is the runaway train that stops just in time, and this character needs no introduction. Normally the glamour trams are continually moving, and this can make life a little difficult for amateur cameramen. The only time the trams do stop briefly is when, as now, a film crew are actually shooting. Even though it is a bright sunny day, banks of strong artificial lighting are being used to augment the natural sun. In between takes, the trams continue with their progress. The house used in Psycho overlooks 6 streets west, a western set used continually since 1918. In the old silent days, if the characters had to appear in another town, all they did was to go round the corner. Stage 3 of the tour allows the visitors to watch the antics of the performing animals. This bird has appeared in Beretta. And this dog made his name in Quincy. Equally popular is the performance of the stuntmen. The hero is ensnared in quicksand, but in the true spirit of the movies, extracts himself in time for the final shootout. At the end of the tour, everyone can wander around the limited area and have a close-up view of more gimmicks. Many a battle has been fought around this castle. These chariots were used in the Ten Commandments, and here men are preparing a set for model shots which are to be used in a forthcoming naval epic. Even the ladies can turn bionic at Universal. This oversized telephone was used in the Land of the Giants to make the actors look small. And of course, everyone wants to be photographed with Jaws. There's something for everyone at Universal, and it's a tour well worth the small entrance fee. It certainly interests the older generation, and it gives pleasure to the children, as well as an insight into how the movies are made. At last, this Boulevard of Dreams reaches Hollywood, a name even more familiar than Los Angeles itself. Every film fan throughout the world has heard of Hollywood, and yet not many would know that it's just a small suburb of Los Angeles and is in fact a part of the city of Beverly Hills. film fan worth his salt would leave the area without a look at the fabulous Chinese theatre. This elaborately ornated cinema is where, in the 30s and 40s, all the current screen idols could be seen by their worshipping fans, as they attended the many film premieres. The inside of the building is just as lavishly decorated as the outside. It was Sid Grauman, the owner, who began the tradition of preserving the foot and handprints of the stars in cement. Here the fans can relive in their minds the film exploits of those who were their long past heroes. Even here, the commercial photographers are active, as the fans without cameras of their own demand a photograph of themselves at the shrine of the past. Photographs and information about the Academy Award winners are boldly displayed, and the gift shop sells all the usual souvenirs appertaining to the movies. Whilst the Chinese forecourt has reminded some of past movie adventures, outside a real live adventure is taking place. This van driver has violated the law by making a U-turn. It takes 3 policemen to give him a ticket. Usually the streets are devoid of people, but on Saturday night the locals are out in force. Scores of cars loaded with young people continually drive up and down Hollywood Boulevard, doing their own thing. Entertainers also take to the street while there is a chance of an audience. Hollywood is aptly named the Tinsel City, and while the coke may be real, one gets the feeling that somehow Hollywood is not.